Hi everybody, I'm Gwen. Welcome to At Home with Gigi. Thank you so much for being here today. Guys, we got a lot going on with today's video. I have hit my subscriber goal. Thank y'all so very much. I truly appreciate you. I have a subscriber giveaway. I'll tell you about that in just a bit. This is part of a wonderful collaboration. I've got some birthday shout outs, and in all of that, I have some amazing Shabby Chic summer DIYs to share with you. Most of it is from Dollar Tree. If not, it is totally affordable. And now with all that being said, which is a lot, let's go ahead and get started. Let's create a beautiful Shabby Chic piece out of this tin pan from the Dollar Tree. I took it outside and gave it 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum spray paint. I didn't quite get the coverage I was looking for some reason, so I'm coming back in using some just white chalk paint. Gave it another coat, and then before it was completely dry, I mixed some of that white chalk paint in with the Apple Barrel's Cameo Pink. I wanted a very light, just kind of dreamy, soft pink color. And I'm just dabbing, pouncing all around the tin pan. I'm not looking for complete coverage because I still want some of that white to show through. We're going to add this gorgeous napkin to the pan, and I'm going to start by cutting the 2 sections apart. I'd originally planned to leave the words on there, but once I got to placing it on the pan, it just did not look right, so I do go in later and remove that off camera. But after I get it cut apart, I'm going to go in with a little tiny paintbrush and some water. It's just my preferred method to remove all the excess napkin, but you can certainly do the fussy cut if that's what you choose. To me, it just makes it blend better with my surface doing it this way, but it's whatever you prefer to do. This napkin came from Napkin World, and I found it on eBay, but I've had this a couple of years now, so I don't know if they still have them, so I'm sorry about that. Don't forget to remove your extra plies. Some napkins have 2, some have 3. This one happens to have 3. It can definitely mess your project up forgetting to remove those plies. Ask me how I know that. But anyway, we're just going to go in with a very thin layer of Mod Podge. And I'm trying to be very careful here because I am so heavy-handed. This napkin is extremely thin and delicate, so I'm trying very hard not to tear it. Just smoothing out the Mod Podge, and then I love this brush. It's very soft, and I love to Mod Podge with it. As you can see, I'm just kind of patting and tapping and smoothing out the napkin, and then I'll go back over it with my plastic wrap and just smooth everything down. Can I just take a moment and say thank you so very much to my subscribers. Y'all are amazing. You've helped me hit my subscriber goal of 2,000 and then some. I'm a couple of hundred or more over that. Thank you, thank you. And to show my appreciation for that, I'm going to have a giveaway. And it's 2 Amazon cards, $50 each. And how do you win? Just by being a subscriber and answering a secret question that I will have between now and June the 2nd. I will have it in one of my videos. Answer that question in the comments. Be subscribed, and I will let you know on June the 9th who the winner is. I'll post it in my community tab and on my Instagram page. All you got to do is, again, subscribe and answer that question and hit that notification bell so you know when I'm going to upload a video. And thank y'all so much. I've already cut my stencil down to size because I wanted to make sure it's going to fit flat in the bottom of this pan. Taped it down, and now I'm going in with some Mod Podge on these little dabbers and just dabbing it all around. I'm trying to prevent my paint from bleeding. I wanted to use my newfound trick of using spray adhesive on the back of the stencil, but because this is a metal pan, tin pan, whatever, I was afraid it might pull my paint up, so I decided not to do that this time. I think I forgot to tell you the color of the paint. It's Antique Gold by Folk Art, and I'm just going to use my tweezers and just very carefully remove that stencil. Make sure it's completely dry, and then I'm just going to go in and just very lightly sand over it just to distress it a little bit. I originally planned to add the bird to the pan, but it was just too heavy. I mean, this is a substantial piece for $1. It came from Dollar General. So I decided to just use it as my template. I'm just using a piece of cardboard left over from something. Just going to trace it out, and then I'll go in and cut it out with my scissors and finish it off with my X-Acto knife. I want to take a second and wish two of our talented creator collaboration friends a very, very happy birthday. C from CJ DIY and Lisa from Our Gray House. I'll have their channels listed down below. Make sure you go over and wish them a happy birthday. Tell them hello. And if you're not subscribed, what a wonderful birthday present that would be to subscribe to their channels. Even though it's cardboard, I still like to very lightly sand around the edges. That way if there's any rough spots or uneven edges, it just smooths everything out. Then I'll go in and give it a coat front and back with Waverly chalk paint in white. I've already added a layer of Mod Podge, let that dry. Once I get the placement of my napkin exactly where I want it, I'm going to cover it with a sheet of parchment paper, and then I like my iron on low heat with this thin, delicate napkin, and I just put the iron on there, and that heat reactivates that Mod Podge, and oh my gosh, y'all, it gives it such a perfect finish. I want to say almost every single time. I'm just going to take some of this moss and shape it into a little small nest, and then just use hot glue and attach it to the bottom of the sign. Now to make these eggs for the nest, these are just some of those glittery eggs from the Dollar Tree. I painted them white, and I just took some of the antique gold in the little brush and just kind of flicked it on there to make them look a little bit speckledy, and then just hot gluing them in place on the nest. I'm going to use E6000 to attach the bird to the side of the pan, and once I get it in place and exactly where I want it, to hold it there until it sets up, I'm going to use clothespins, and I folded a piece of parchment paper over just to protect the napkin, and I did let it set up overnight. I'm using a lint-free cloth and just some of the antiquing gold from Folk Art. I don't have any rub and buff, so I'm just making do with what I have, and I'm just very lightly rubbing along those textured edges of the pan just to give it a little extra touch. And I'm wiping, if I get too much, I'll wipe it away, and I just gradually built it up all the way around. Now I did smudge onto the inside of the pan in some places, so just to go with that and not worry about trying to touch it up with paint, after I finished going around the edges, I did take my cloth and just whatever was left on there, just kind of rub it in certain places around the inside of the pan just to kind of tie it all together. I think this turned out so pretty. The bright, vibrant flowers and the little bird and the bird's nest, just also perfect for summer. I can keep this on my hutch all through summer until I get ready to start decorating for fall. But I am loving this. I hope y'all like it, and you have to tell me what your thoughts are. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and tell you about this collaboration I'm a part of with this video. It's called the Talented Creators Collaboration. It's hosted each month by Aurea at DIY with Aurea and Loli at Loli D's Creations. And this month their guest host is Mary from Craft Away with May and Cynde from Z9 Designs. I'll have all these wonderful ladies' YouTube channels along with the playlist listed down in that description box. If you're not subscribed, please go and subscribe to their channels. Watch their videos. You will not be disappointed. I promise you that. I am so excited to share this DIY with y'all. We're going to be using this little birdhouse, and I think this came from Walmart. I've had it in my stash quite a while. And I'm using the color truffle from Waverly chalk paint, and I've mixed some water with it to create more of a stain. And I'm just going to use this little foam brush and apply it to the birdhouse. Now, I probably should have added just a little bit more water to thin this paint out because my paint's been setting for a while, so it's pretty thick. But as you can see, it's pretty dark. But when I go back with the baby wipe and just wipe it back, it lightens it up pretty well, but I would have preferred with the end result that it was a little bit lighter, but that's okay. There was some glue left on the birdhouse by the manufacturer. I sanded that back in some spots, or the ones that I could really see. And as you'll see when I'm wiping back some of the paint, you can see some really lighter spots in some areas of the birdhouse from that glue, but I don't mind that so much because we're going for a very vintagey, rustic look with this birdhouse. I let the paint or stain dry for just a bit, and y'all, this is the very last of my Rust-Oleum linen white, and it was kind of thick also, so I watered it down just a bit, and I really liked the consistency, especially for this part, because I want a thinner layer. Well, I'm trying to. Didn't look too thin right here, does it? But anyway, I'm trying to put a thin layer of white paint over this stain, and we're going to wipe it back, because like I said, we're going for a very rustic, vintagey look. As you can see, I'm just using a baby wipe and just wiping back, especially along the little pointy parts, just to, where a roof would have some wear and tear. And I'm just using that baby wipe and just kind of pushing that paint back to expose the brown stain or paint that's up underneath. We're going to be using the exact same napkin that we used in the previous project. Y'all, I just cannot get enough of this napkin. I absolutely love it. And I did use a combination of scissors and the little tiny paintbrush with water to remove the excess napkin, because for the birdhouse, obviously I needed much smaller pieces. And y'all, I cannot say enough how much I love this little brush for decoupaging. I had originally planned to only place one flower on this side of the birdhouse, and then after I separated them, I was like, nope, I want both of them. So I'm just placing this one there as best I can to make sure I leave room for the other piece. And then I'm just going to very carefully line it up. And then the piece that's going to be sticking out of the napkin, I'm not going to sand that off like I normally would. I'm just going to let it wrap around the front of the birdhouse. And then I'll add more Mod Podge and then just very gently smooth it down into place. We're going to add moss to the top of the birdhouse, and I'm just kind of adding a zigzaggy pattern of hot glue, and then I'm going to place the moss on top. Now I'm just using my fingers to pat it in. Use caution here, don't burn yourself. My fingers are kind of used to hot glue, but I do use the spatula a couple of times because it does get a little hot. But anyway, I don't want complete and full coverage. This is completely optional. Again, you can skip this part if you don't want the moss on top, because you can see it is a little bit messy. I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue because we're going to add some moss around the opening of the birdhouse. I'm not going to go all the way around. It's going to look just a little bit more than a half moon shape because I don't want to put anything on the other side because the flower's over there. We're going to make a little sign for the front of our house, and I just took a popsicle and broke the ends off of each piece where it looks kind of jagged and ragged on each end. Sorry, I thought I was recording, but I was not. But anyway, just doing that, painting both sides real quick, and then let that almost dry, and then I'm just going to use a little bit of Waverly Antiquing Wax and then just kind of distress the sign just a little bit. To be able to hang our sign on the little perch, I'm going to hot glue just a little small piece of twine to the back of the popsicle stick. Just kind of hold it in place till it sets up. And these little stickers came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm only using the top part of it. And I'm just going to trim it down just a little bit because it's a little bit big for the popsicle stick. It's still a little too big, but oh well, we're going to run with it. But I'm just going to use some Mod Podge and then put a layer of Mod Podge on the popsicle stick and then just attach the little piece of cardboard. Now, to make sure the sign is not going to fall off, we're just going to use a tiny bit of hot glue and then just pop the sign into place. Now our sign is looking just a little too new and clean for our aged and vintagey house, so I'm going to distress it just a little bit, and I'm taking Mod Podge and running it along the top of the sign, and I'm going to tap in just a little bit of the green moss, And a side effect of this is when I go back in just a second with my brush, it kind of smears the moss and it makes my sign a little bit green. And I'm like, I like that, because it's aging it a little bit. It's not so glossy bright. And I'm going back and forth, as you can see, just a little bit with the moss, and then the Mod Podge is getting on the sign, and it's creating a kind of a sticky effect, which again is great because it's reducing that shiny look of the sign. And then I'm just going to go in with just a little bit of antiquing wax and just kind of brush around where that Mod Podge is, because it started to dry and it's just really grabbing the antiquing wax, and it's just really giving the sign that more aged and kind of a realistic look that will fit in with the rest of the house. We're going to use this candlestick to create the stand for the birdhouse, and this came from my stash and it was already painted white. I decided I wanted to use a different technique than what I used on the birdhouse. I wish I had not, because they're not exactly the same color at the end. Up close, I mean really up close, you can tell the difference. At a distance, not so much. I know, because obviously I created it. So I just continue to rotate back and forth with the stain and the white paint, just brushing it over. If I get too much of the stain, I'll go over it with the white paint, just until I get the level of distress that I'm looking for. I'm going to be using a combination of E6000 and hot glue to attach the candlestick to the bottom of the birdhouse. To make sure I get a really good bond, I sanded the top of the candlestick just to make sure I removed any paint that might be there, and as you can see, I did not paint the bottom of the birdhouse. I'm just going to hold it together for a couple of minutes just to give that hot glue time to set up. Now, I let it set for a couple of hours. Ideally, overnight is best before you start messing with it, but because I needed to finish the project, at least let it set for a couple of hours. And I'm just taking some little tiny bits and pieces of that napkin, and I'm just going to place them on the candlestick kind of in an upward motion. I want them to look like they're climbing up the candlestick. Now, once I finished adding all the flowers, I did go back over all of them with another layer of Mod Podge just to make sure everything is sealed in. Even with the little bit of difference in the color of the candlestick and the house, I really, really love this. I have always wanted to create one of these and just never got around to it. So I was so happy when Aurea and Loli said that this challenge required a birdhouse. I said, that's my excuse to make one of these, and I just absolutely love it. Thank you so much for choosing to spend a part of your day with me and watching my video. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for your thumbs ups, your comments. Thank you for subscribing. I truly appreciate your support of my channel. It's an absolutely free way to support my channel. Guys, don't forget about the playlist. Aurea, Loli, thank you for hosting this amazing collaboration every month. Cynde and Mary, thank y'all so much for co-hosting, and I will see everyone soon. I hope you have a wonderfully blessed day.